Hey, so have you ever like sat down at the table with your friends to play some good old-fashioned D&D? You know, get out your equipment and then lay out all your dice and stuff, do your pre-rolls, talk to the DM before the session, and then it begins and you pretend to have intimate romantic relationships with your friends? No? I do. Not properly. I'm not fully into it yet, so I don't know if I can speak 100% on this topic, but romance is a thing that happens in D&D sometimes. If you guys have watched, I keep referencing Critical Role, but it's purely because it's the most dense D&D show out there with content. It's got so much just going on right now, and the main reason that it happens is because they've been friends for like 10 years or something stupid. Well, it happens depending on like what characters people are playing and the relationships between the players. So, for example, I joined a couple of games in Roll20 a while back, and I used to mainly use that as kind of like, it was more of a video gamey thing for me. And if I joined a game online and I was like a month in, I'm not about to set any romantic relationships between anything. However, if my boy James that I've been playing with for years and been on stage with for years, who wants to flirt with my female halfling NPC, then we're gonna go all in, okay? That's what's gonna happen. It's purely because I've just known him for so long, you know what I mean? It's a tricky thing, and if it starts happening in your game and you're not all right with it, then say, this isn't what I wanted to explore, and then they'll back off. And if they don't back off, then get out while you still can. I personally haven't done it that much. I've had it established in backstories, but usually as a motive for adventuring because they're either dead or about to die or something like that. But I am experimenting with sowing seeds of romances and more intimate attractions into my stories. So, for example, my player Ryan and an NPC have a classic Jill and Pam from The Office, will they, won't they, going on right now. It's brilliant. Now, you don't always have to think like, my character likes this other character, that means they have to kiss now. I think that the best D&D relationships are the ones that are forged on the idea of like found family or really strong friendships, creating a solid like party dynamic, so that there isn't like, here's this three and then there's a couple. I usually try not to make things romantic in between parties if I'm in one, purely just platonic and helpful and stuff like that. I think that if there is going to be a romance in a game, it should probably be between two players, since as a DM, I would personally find it harder to connect properly with those moments. But if you've been playing a character for a year, then it's easier to connect to said moments. Romance is, however, part of life, so it's something that you might want to explore, because almost everyone, you asexuals and aromantics over there, I know you're not watching this video. Why are you still here? And I think that the best plots for like a D&D romance usually should have the couple feature very regularly. So like Reed Richards and his wife in Fantastic Four, or very rarely. So for example, James, who I mentioned earlier, one of my mates, he had a character that had a wife just elsewhere in the world doing her own thing, and I think that was kind of cool. It was a background thing. He was a married man and he was very friendly and stuff like that, and it kind of fortified some of the things that he actually ended up doing in the game. Having a romance already established and still around in backstory with an NPC is something, as a DM, I would kind of struggle with. Of course, I'm still going to do it because, you know, I can and my players want it. But I would really struggle actually representing a convincing established romance. So, for example, I wasn't DMing, I wasn't part of this at all. But Ryan, I mentioned him earlier, had made a character that had a like girlfriend in the city that we were playing in who could also tip us off. And they were he'd wrote them as a very like publicly intimate, like gonna kiss you as I walk into the door sort of thing. And the DM and him interacting, I will admit, was very cringe. But but not on either of their faults. They just didn't. Neither of them really expected to suddenly be role playing out a romance with each other. So I think that if you are gonna do it, I think that the best way to do it is let it develop through the game instead of, there's a romance here. Me and Ryan at some point, because we kind of had like a brother and brother duo going on, but then one of them died, so we were like, hey, let's think of the next one. And we were thinking of like some badass married warlock couple or something. And I think that I would have been fine with that, even though we hadn't like let it develop or something like that. Purely just because I've been playing with that guy for years now, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But yeah, I think it should gradually happen and be a progressive thing instead of already very well established and stuff like that. Purely just based on my preference. Who knows? Maybe you're some kind of like mastermind who can manage to instantly connect to a fake romance in like 5 seconds, because even though I'm an actor, I'm not that good of an actor. I'm not Daniel Day-Lewis. I wish I was. And I really don't know how the fuck Matt Mercer did that like whole thing with Beth and her husband, where he was always super supportive and really cute and stuff like that. I don't know, man. If you thought this was helpful at all, subscribe and like and stuff. I have a Discord that you can join in the description as well. If you've noticed, the videos are getting a bit shorter, and that's purely just because I don't think I need to overload you with information beyond the 7 or 8 minute mark. And when I am, it's usually like, I feel like I'm forcing it, so I'm just going to keep it like kind of lower pace. I actually recorded this the day before I usually do, just purely because I can be a bit more on top of it, and I think that that's a habit that I might be getting into. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm a go now, because I've got a D&D game to plan like a nerd. You guys heard of nerds, right? Where's the button? I don't know, turn on.